Step back into the rugged world of the Big Valley, the classic western that rode onto television in 1965 and turned the Barkley family into small-screen legends. More than 6 decades later, the faces who brought Victoria, Jarrod, Nick, Heath, Audra and their unforgettable allies and rivals to life have taken very different paths. Some became enduring Hollywood icons, some quietly stepped away from fame, and others left behind stories fans still remember with emotion. In this cast then and now journey, we'll uncover what happened after the final ride, who continued to shine, and where the stars of the Big Valley are today, 61 years later. Victoria Barkley, played by Barbara Stanwyck. She first appeared in the Big Valley in 1965 at age 58. Victoria was the steel heart of the ranch, elegant, unsentimental, and unafraid to meet risk with a level stare. After the series, Stanwyck earned another Emmy and Golden Globe for the Thornbirds, the Cecil B. DeMille Award, the AFI Life Achievement Award, and an Honorary Academy Award after 4 Oscar nominations. Her life had been marked early by loss. Orphaned as a child, twice divorced, and later estranged from her adopted son, she carried a solitude that made her screen authority feel carved rather than performed. Smoke from the Thornbirds and years of smoking contributed to bronchitis and failing lungs, yet she stayed disciplined to the end. Victoria Barkley was not a late role, it was a summation. Barbara Stanwyck died on January 20th, 1990, at age 82 from congestive heart failure and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and her ashes were scattered over Lone Pine, California. Jarrod Barkley, played by Richard Long. He first appeared in the Big Valley in 1965 at age 38. Jarrod was the polished lawyer of the Barkley clan, a calm voice that could still carry the threat of a drawn gun. After the series, Long returned to ABC as Professor Harold Everett in Nanny and the Professor, keeping him in a leading television role into the early 1970s after earlier success in Bourbon Street Beat and 77 Sunset Strip. His private life had already known grief. His first wife, actress Susan Ball, died of cancer in 1955, and Long suffered heart problems after a first heart attack in 1961. He later remained married to Mara Corday, with whom he had 3 children while working through repeated cardiac crises. The steadiness he gave Jarrod now feels shadowed by the fragile life behind it, a poised screen presence moving toward an ending far too soon. Richard Long died on December 21, 1974, at age 47 after further heart attacks in Los Angeles, and his remains were cremated. Nick Barkley, played by Peter Breck. He first appeared in the Big Valley in 1965 at age 36. Nick was the ranch's thunderclap, all-black vest, leather gloves, quick temper, and fierce loyalty to the Barkley name. After the series, Breck stayed active in television, later carried his craft into Vancouver, and turned a weekly class for young actors into the Breck Academy, a full-time acting school he ran for years. His life away from the camera was marked by devotion and loss. He married dancer Diane Bourne in 1960, and their only son, Christopher, died of leukemia as a young adult. In 2010, Diane publicly shared that Breck was living with dementia, though he still read letters from viewers who had not forgotten Nick. The man who once filled a room with fury ended his public journey quietly, guarded by family and memory. Peter Breck died on February 6, 2012, at age 82 from complications of dementia in Vancouver, and his ashes were scattered at sea. Heath Barkley, played by Lee Majors. He first appeared in the Big Valley in 1965 at age 26. Heath entered the ranch as the outsider son, quiet, wounded, and watchful, carrying his claim like a scar. After the series, Majors became one of television's defining action stars as Colonel Steve Austin in The $6 Million Man, earning a Golden Globe nomination and turning the bionic hero into an international phenomenon. He later anchored The Fall Guy for 5 seasons as stuntman Colt Seavers and received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The success came with a public life that was not simple. Orphaned in infancy, he lived through 4 marriages, including a highly public union with Farrah Fawcett that ended in divorce. In 2003, he underwent heart bypass surgery, a human counterpoint to the indestructible hero audiences once saw. What began with Heath's guarded silence became a career built on survival and reinvention. In 2026, Lee Majors is 87 and lives in Houston. Audra Barkley, played by Linda Evans. She first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 23. Audra brought youth, defiance, and restless tenderness to the Barkley household, often standing between privilege and danger. After the series, Evans reached the height of 1980s television fame as Crystal Carrington on Dynasty, winning the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Television Drama Series in 1982, earning a Primetime Emmy nomination and collecting repeated People's Choice honours during the show's peak. Her private story carried its own fracture. Her marriage to John Derek ended after he left her for the teenager who became Bo Derek, a break Evans later described as devastating. Diagnosed with idiopathic edema, she turned toward fitness, alternative healing, and a quieter life far from the studios. The glow of Dynasty never erased Audra's first ride, but it gave Evans a second crown before she chose distance over noise. In 2026, Linda Evans is 83 and lives in Rainier, Washington. Eugene Barkley, played by Charles Briles. He first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 20. Eugene was the Barkley son headed for a gentler future, a young man whose medical studies promised a quieter road than Gunsmoke. Briles was an original cast member, then appeared in more than 45 television shows and films, including the MGM Elvis Presley film The Trouble with Girls, before turning to stage directing, where his obituary credited him with Southern California awards. The turn came at once. While The Big Valley was still new, he received a draft notice and left the series, later serving in the California Army National Guard until 1972. He built a second career writing, producing, and directing industrial films for Northrop for 24 years, while remaining a SAG-AFTRA member. Eugene's absence became part of the show's silence, a promise redirected into family, service, and work. Charles Briles died on June 12, 2016, at age 70 from congestive heart failure in Portland, Oregon. Silas, played by Napoleon Whiting. He first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 56. Silas moved through the Barkley house with quiet dignity, turning service into watchfulness, restraint, and moral steadiness. Whiting's career had begun decades earlier, after he left Mississippi for New York and appeared on Broadway in 1929. And by the time The Big Valley made him a familiar television presence, he had already built a long screen life in roles shaped by the limits placed on black actors of his era. After the series, he continued working in films such as Black Samson and Farewell, My Lovely, adding to a career that stretched from early 1940s cinema into the late 1970s. Many of his parts were servants, porters, or waiters, but his survival inside that narrow casting tells its own harsher story. Silas became the role that gave his stillness room to breathe. Napoleon Whiting died on October 22, 1984, at age 75 in Los Angeles, California, and was buried in Inglewood. Judge Lansbury, played by Harlan Ward. He first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 48. Ward's judges, sheriffs, bankers, and officials brought a dry civic gravity to Western towns, where order was always one argument away from collapse. After The Big Valley, he remained one of television's reliable faces, with more than 180 film and television credits, including recurring work as banker John Hamilton on The Rifleman and Sheriff Brannan on The Virginian. In 1969, he also joined actors coached by a neurology professor to simulate symptoms for medical student training films, a quiet turn from entertainment into instruction. His personal life included US Army service during World War II, 2 marriages, 2 divorces, and a daughter, Sharon Frances Lufkin. Ward's career rarely placed him at the centre, yet it depended on making every official, witness and worried father feel lived in. Harlan Ward died on March 13, 1980, at age 62 in Los Angeles County, California. Blacksmith, played by Paul Sorensen. He first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 39. Sorensen's screen presence carried the weight of working men, the kind of townsmen who made the Barkley world feel hammered, dusty and real. After The Big Valley, he continued a long career of hundreds of parts, later becoming familiar as Andy Bradley on Dallas and appearing in studio films such as Westworld and Escape to Witch Mountain. He had been trained at the Pasadena Playhouse, served 15 months with the US Army's 25th Division during the Korean War, and later received a Lifetime Achievement Honor from the Pasadena Playhouse. Off-screen, he married Jacqueline May in 1957, raised 2 sons, helped found the Orchard Gables Repertory Theatre Group, and, with his wife and son Christian, became an ordained minister. After Jacqueline died in 2002, his long road narrowed into faith, family, and memory. Paul Sorensen died on July 17, 2008, at age 82 in Cardiff-by-the-Sea, California. Dan Kelsey, played by Bing Russell. He first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 39. Russell moved through western towns with a wiry, alert toughness, the kind of face that belonged beside a jail door, a saloon table, or a dusty street. After The Big Valley, he remained best known as Deputy Clem Foster on Bonanza, but his boldest later achievements came far from the soundstage when he founded the independent Portland Mavericks in 1973. The team broke minor league attendance records, hired groundbreaking front office figures, and made Russell the Sporting News Minor League Executive of the Year in 1974. Its story later became the Battered Bastards of Baseball. He married Louise Lulu Crone in 1946, had 4 children, including Kurt Russell, and turned Hollywood and baseball into a family mythology. The Maverick owner outlived the club, but not the dream it released. Bing Russell died on April 8, 2003, at age 76 from complications of cancer in Thousand Oaks, California. Walgus, played by Charles Bale. He first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 30. Bale brought the lean danger of a stuntman to every roughneck and rider he played, making even a brief Western appearance feel physically alive. After The Big Valley, he built a 5-decade career as a stuntman, actor, stunt coordinator, and director, doubling for Peter Breck on The Big Valley and for Max Baer Jr. on The Beverly Hillbillies. He moved behind the camera on The Devil's 8, Werewolves on Wheels, Cleopatra Jones, and The Gumball Rally. His screen image came full circle in The Stuntman, where he appeared opposite Peter O'Toole as a stunt coordinator, almost playing the life he had already survived. Bale later directed episodes of Chips, Knight Rider, Dragnet, The New Adam 12, and Baywatch Nights. The work was built on crashes, timing, risk, and bodies trusting gravity. Charles Bale died on November 25, 2020, at age 85 from heart and gallbladder issues in Tyler, Texas. Spock, played by Walker Edmiston. He first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 39. Edmiston could turn a minor town figure into a strange, sharp presence, the kind of face and voice that made the valley feel crowded with hidden stories. After The Big Valley, his lasting achievement came through sound. He became a prolific voice artist and puppeteer, voiced characters across Sid and Marty Krofft productions, worked on Star Trek, and later reached a new generation as Ernie the Keebler Elf. He had begun as an early Los Angeles children's television host, and that blend of puppetry and vocal invention followed him for decades. In private, he married Evelyn in 1950, raised 2 daughters, Andrea and Erin, and endured her death in 1998. He kept working until illness arrived in January 2007, a final testament to a career built from unseen labour and recognisable voices. Walker Edmiston died on February 15, 2007, at age 81 from complications of cancer, and was entombed in Los Angeles. The Baker, played by Joe Higgins. He first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 40. Higgins gave small-town men a gravelly warmth, the sound of flour dust, hard work, and a warning spoken before trouble arrived. After The Big Valley, his most measurable success came from advertising. From 1969 to 1975, he appeared as a sheriff in Dodge Division commercials for Chrysler, winning Clio recognition and turning that lawman persona into commercials, print ads, and public appearances. He became a General Electric spokesman in 1976 and was asked by former FBI Director Clarence M. Kelly to join a crime prevention task force. Behind the drawl was a man who kept studying. Higgins earned a PhD in aviation education from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Married to Jackie and father to 3 children, he carried a career that moved from Western blacksmiths to public service authority. Joe Higgins died on June 15, 1998, at age 72 from a heart attack in Los Angeles, California. Mr. Simmons, played by Bill Quinn. He first appeared in The Big Valley in 1965 at age 53. Quinn had the plain-spoken gravity of an old American character actor, able to make a counter, a bar stool, or a front room feel lived in. After The Big Valley, he remained active across 7 decades, with recurring work on The Rifleman, The Odd Couple, Owen Marshall, Counselor at Law, Archie Bunker's Place, and The Bob Newhart Show. He ended his screen career as Dr. McCoy's father in Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. His roots reached back to vaudeville, where he performed as a child with his brothers, and to Broadway roles before radio and television made him a familiar face. In 1939, he married Mary Catherine Roden. They remained together for more than half a century and raised 3 daughters, including Ginny Newhart. Quinn's career became a long American corridor of performance. Bill Quinn died on April 29, 1994, at age 81 from natural causes, and was buried in Mission Hills, Los Angeles. When The Big Valley ended, the Barkley name did not fade so much as settle into memory. Barbara Stanwyck carried Victoria's iron grace into the final chapter of a legendary career. Richard Long was gone by 1974, and Peter Breck followed decades later, leaving Nick's Fury frozen in reruns. Lee Majors and Linda Evans lived on through new icons, but even their later fame never erased the ranch that first bound them together. Which Barkley stayed with you the longest? Time closed the gate, but the valley still echoes after dark.